my question, first of all, Tara, I want to learn about what y'all have been doing, because down at the Marine Ship Encampment, we had a septic overflow, and our encampment got saturated with Enterococcus. And Mayor Kellman would not help us get our to test for the septic overflow. People were literally sleeping, walking through fecal contamination. And then we ended up doing our own tests. We paid out of our own pockets. Enterococcus, all the contaminants were there. They were so saturated, it was septic overflow right in our camp. People got sick. Jesse Man had a foot infection. He's dead now. We had perpetual environmental injustice. We have dozens of people who've been made homeless here off the coast of Sausalito because their boats have been crushed, because allegedly their anchors damage eelgrass. Even though we see over in Tamales Bay, they're harvesting the eelgrass. They're getting people. The business owners are getting permits to harvest it, even though and yet there's a double standard. The city of Sausalito has put in hundreds of thousands of gallons of raw sewage every year. This flooded our camp, got people sick. It floods the bay, and yet 70 people out there, they're the ones that are the problem. They're the ones where they've been using police violence, crushing people's homes, terrorizing, and making this encampment where now we're being terrorized all the time by police. Joel Shelton, rest in peace, he got kicked out of the camp for no reason other than that the city of Sausalito is a war of attrition. And he, on one place where he had access to Narcan, Suboxone, and peer support, he got kicked out for no reason but he went a few days to visit his son. And now he died in the gutter in San Rafael. And is that environmental justice? That's environmental injustice. And I gotta say right now, where's Officer Barreros? We come out of the encampment and we're treated like criminals. And I just want to recognize Tim, I want to recognize Mark and all the people that came out today, that this is an environmental injustice. And that they took people from Dunphy Park. For Dunphy Park, people had their boats seized and crushed, made homeless by the city of Sausalito and the Richardson Bay Regional Agency. And they forced them next to the Army Corps of Engineers, where they crush boats, fiberglass boats, with no kind of protection. Janelle Kellman could speak about that. Very little protection of the Army Corps, there's been spills of oil into the fiberglass. When it crushes, it flies over and flies onto the encampment, and people get covered in fiberglass. And yet they don't care. They don't care. There's a constant war of attrition. And my question is, how do you hold people accountable? Why is it that some people, we're treated like we're not even human beings, and that we could just be justified as nothing? So I put it to you, and I invite Janelle Kellman as well. How do you think, from my perspective, I see my friends die. Significant contributing factor being the city of Sausalito's actions. How do you think we're supposed to respond? And maybe it's somebody else from the team. Maybe you want to say something as well.
I want to thank you. Terry, do you want to respond to that? And then I want to encourage you. The dialogue is great, but instead of making a comment, if you can ask a specific question to one of our panelists. But I think this gentleman was asking. Obviously, there's huge frustration and concern and disruption there. And I don't know, Janelle, maybe you want to respond as well, just quickly, and then we can have a couple more questions.
We've been talking to several attorneys lately, and the information we're getting from our attorneys they're all the same. They're saying you have to start demanding that certain things happen. You have to demand that justice takes place. We're talking about fair and equitable treatment. And we know this county was number one at the bottom of the totem pole. Now number two when it comes to issues around equity. And that this county definitely has to begin to look at itself and say, what are you doing? Where's your heart? Where's your heart? And we have to change that.
Thank you.
Number two at the bottom, when it comes to issues around equity. Number four at the bottom when it comes to issues around environmental justice and the issues that we're dealing with. Understand.
Thank you. Are there another couple quick questions? Vicki?
I'd like to change the tone a little bit, and I'd like to compliment the panel. We've heard some different perspectives here. And I'd love to hear, I know particularly of Terry's great work in Marin City, if you can give us a little bit of update. You have been making some noise, some good noise, and I know the county's working on a sewer plan and all that. Give us a little update, and then we can get more charged up to help you out more.
As you come into Marin City, there's no drain pipes there.
Use the mic, please.
Oh, sorry, thank you. As you come into Marin City, there's no drain pipes there. And so what we've